Why do you think you're here?
I have no clue. You're talking about something happening.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I'll be glad.
28 years ago, Patrick Nicholas approached, assaulted, and murdered 16-year-old Sarah Yarborough, hiding her in her own high school. No one was ever supposed to find out that he was the one behind Sarah's murder until now.
Tonight, we are actually getting answers in a decades-old mystery.
For those 3 decades, Patrick had hidden his every move, staying one step ahead of detectives, covering up not only Sarah's murder, but an extensive criminal past.
If the system had worked as it should, he should have still been in prison.
Which means Pat is not stupid. And in this never-before-seen interrogation, detectives will try their best to untangle this 30-year-old murder plot.
We know for a fact that it wasn't intended to happen. You're going to be caught as a monster. The mystery is over. The mystery is over.
It was on Saturday, the 14th of December, 1991, when 16-year-old Sarah Yarborough drove to Federal Way High School in Washington State. Thinking she was late, she actually arrived an hour earlier to meet her fellow teammates for an upcoming competition, but instead would meet her gruesome end. Sarah was murdered just 100 yards from where her car was in the parking lot. Around were a pair of nylon stockings that were used as a makeshift garotte. A few witnesses spotted the killer, describing him as a tall Caucasian man with a medium build. Alas, detectives were utterly lost. The only concrete evidence they had was a sample of the killer's DNA on the victim's clothes. Unfortunately, the technology at the time was too primitive to trace the suspect. For the longest time, the murderer seemed to have gotten away with the crime. That is, until advancements in DNA evidence eventually linked Patrick Leon Nicholas as the culprit 28 years later in 2019. When law enforcement called him into an interrogation room on October 2, 2019, Patrick did not realize that they knew he was the killer, but they were going to fool him into thinking that they were wanting his brother, Edward Peter Nicholas Jr. Would the mask slip, and would Patrick be caught out after all these years?
And one of those things that we were talking about in the car was your brother Edward and kind of what that relationship has been like between you and he over the years. And it sounds like it hasn't always been a good, strong relationship. So in your own words, just describe for me kind of what that's like. Describe Edward and what it was like having him as a brother throughout the years.
Basically, my brother has always had this big, huge chip on his shoulder. So you don't know where it came from, how it started, but it's deep. I've seen him actually draw me out of the mouth. He took him personally.
So
He's flat skinned, how much he hates me, my sister, things like that. It's just, to me, I just take it as a norm, as a dysfunctional idiot. I guess other people look at it differently. To me, it's just, I don't know anything different. Because it's basically a big ass trick. You know,
and even when you were young, like in middle school and high school, was it always like that?
yeah, he always had a meanness to him. Always.
Okay. And is it directed specifically at you more so than other members of the family?
No, he shares his belief with everybody.
With everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. And so you mentioned you went to high school and started Des Moines. Is that where you went?
Highland.
Oh, Highland. Okay. And
Yeah.
did Edward go to school with you?
Last time we were in school, close to, it was Maywood Elementary.
Maywood Elementary?
Yeah.
Where's that?
2 minutes.
Okay.
We went.
Okay. Des Moines area as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you guys weren't in class together
Oh, no.
for high school?
He's 5.5 years older than me.
Okay. Got it.
And my sister's 6.5 years older than me. So when I had kindergarten, they were in 5th and 6th grade. Yeah.
Was she kind of jealous? You mentioned in the car that you were pretty good in sports and mentioned some sports that you excelled at. You said wrestling you were pretty good at. Was your brother, was Edward jealous about
Well,
that?
again, no, we never had any of that.
Off the bat, Patrick portrays his brother in a negative light, depicting him from an early age as egotistical, cruel, and hugely competitive, even with his own family. But the sibling slander does not stop there, as he goes on to allege that Edward was a lawbreaker who tried to frame him in the past.
And you mentioned in the car, and we wanted to talk about this, how your brother has used your name in the past, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about that and when that started and what that was about.
It started, God, I think, in the late 80s,
Okay.
early 90s.
Okay.
The one incident, I don't know if you can still look it up. I got some to, there's a Auburn court
Okay,
for evading police, speeding tickets. Looks like 4 of them that came in the middle. And I had to go down to the Auburn court and face these charges. And I walked in, when I told the judge, I go, you figured it just 1,000 times, they wrote, it wasn't even my brother. At the time, I was looking for business.
okay,
I told the boss, look, did you run a complete background check?
okay,
All the hours I worked.
okay,
So we take it in court. And I asked the judge, I said, hey, look, this is what my boss is doing. I said, I'll be here next week, at the beginning of the week, so I can get over to
mhm,
I really didn't know when the first honestly started.
okay.
It didn't really come to my attention until like,
The late 80s, which was, and you said that was where at? What jurisdiction? Auburn?
yeah,
Auburn? Okay. Okay, when's the next time after that you recollect when you used your name?
sure. A lot of the officers, I used to cook at the, near Lake Meridian and Cherries.
Mhm.
A lot of regular officers and stuff would come in. I'd do all the situations. Then they'd give me a heads up here and there, just say, oh, you were at such place, you're at such place. And this is kind of ongoing through the 14 years I worked there.
Okay,
And I was here 90, I think it was only 10. I went out 94. I had to get about 96 because I moved fully out into the house I'm getting out in 94.
so 94 in the house you're in now. Okay,
I turned 30 and I got divorced. So I moved back on the property in Canada.
okay,
And yeah, I had to be 2 years. It was 2 years after I was there. So about 96, my dad comes knocking on the door one night. Up and up there listening. I just got home from work. You're supposed to come on in one van. I had to go over
mm-hmm,
and talk to an officer that was
mm-hmm,
going to the Army 6. I mean, yeah, I'm back to the Lord Nicholas. I'm here. You can't. But I just got off work because at the time I was working at Sherry's
mm-hmm,
just down the road. I
right,
said, I just got home. Why do you need my van?
mm-hmm,
They go, well, because you're going to get this speeding ticket, you're leaving police. I go, you jumping over it, boy?
wow,
Already, Edward sounds like a backstabbing lowlife who tried to weasel his way out of trouble at the expense of Patrick here. That being said, he goes on to admit that he himself is no saint. He did time after all.
Did you ever do anything though? You did too a little bit? Okay, back when you were young and stupid, basically. Okay, what era would you,
1987.
87? Okay,
1980 to 1987.
okay. And where did you do time out? Shelton? How about your brother? Where did you do?
Shelton.
Shelton?
We were actually roommates.
No way. Okay,
She took us together.
that probably didn't go so well, did it?
Yeah.
It was okay? All right, so you guys both did prison time. You got out in 87. When did your brother get out? Before you or after?
You know, Sequel 89 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, honestly, about 8, 9.
So when you and he went to prison in Shelton, did you both go in using your correct name, or was there, you did? Okay, so as far as the prison knows, you are Leon and he's Pete. Okay,
Back then, I was still going by Patrick.
okay,
It was until after I got out of prison when my grandfather died when I was in prison, my dad's father. And then my mule, Leon, that was his name. After he passed away, my dad asked me if I wouldn't mind going by Leon. As kind of a tribute to my grandfather. So I did.
okay, I gotcha.
But I wanted a new break, get another new Leon because people knew Patrick.
Right.
So there's a white
Makes sense.
curtain.
Yeah, it's still your name, so, I mean, it's not a misuse of name.
When they
So
said-
Leon, so you're probably gonna ask questions. So your brother used your name.
Mhm. So,
Did you ever pay him back by using his name or anything? No.
And aside from the time you did in Shelton, have you done any other time for anything at all? Okay, so pretty much got your life figured out.
Yeah.
All right. And how about Pete? Did you do any more time after doing that kind of shopping?
Anything now, so
Has he for a while? Okay.
quite a while.
What was he in and out for?
Drugs, mainly drugs, like I think 1 or 2 domestic violence charges, but mainly just tobacco violations left and right.
Tobacco violations, is that what you said? Oh, drug, okay, gotcha. And what did you end up doing time for back in 80s? Okay.
That's long time, long.
I know, long time ago, you know, yeah.
We don't.
We know, we've been doing this job for a long time, and I get it. There's a lot of people that have done a lot of really stupid things when they were young.
That's nightmares over too.
Yeah.
That's what I go.
Yeah, I agree.
We're kind of in the business of, things that I'm not proud of. I wasn't right as a police officer. So, I mean, I didn't appear on the face of the earth the day before I walked in on a blank red job here. So, we all have that.
For me, it's just bury that as deep as I can. I want you to bury it as deep as I can.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I mean, just for the sake of being open, what was the issue?
Honestly,
Okay, that's okay.
I really do get nightmares and stuff.
That's fine.
And I'm going to have one over that you're trying to get out of it.
Patrick admits to having been sent to prison when he was younger, but he claims he does not remember why exactly. All that the suspect confirms is that he started to go by his middle name, Leon, after he was freed. For him, it was a new beginning, a fresh start. We'll spare you the hour spent building up a rapport with the suspect here. He goes into a lot of detail about his life, portraying himself as someone who has been betrayed and broken by people he trusted and has made many bad decisions in his youth. At one point, he mentions that he and his wife divorced when he was accused of assaulting their daughter. Of course, as we know, the police are not here for Edward. Patrick is their prime suspect for the murder of Sarah Yarborough 28 years ago, and all of these conversations that the detectives had with him have built up a rapport with him up to this point. He is totally oblivious to the fact that law enforcement already knows about his prior criminal history for assaulting girls. In the past, he had 5 prior assault cases against women, though none of them required a DNA submission for the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS. One such incident took place in June 1983. After approaching Ann Croney and chatting with her while she was in her car, she was forced at knife point to remove her clothing. Croney was lucky enough to escape by swimming through a nearby lake and getting help. After his arrest, he admitted that he had a problem, as he put it, with assaulting girls. Patrick was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but only served 3 of those years and was put on a registry. He was even on parole at the time of Sarah's death. Now, it was time for the tricky part. The detectives decide to slowly, gently, and subtly steer their way towards the 1991 case in hopes to pry open the truth.
Right.
So that was one thing in your life that happened that you were very regretful and remorseful of it.
I'm glad he said still in that race.
Okay. Was there anything else that ever came up in your life that you wish you could go back and
That, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, just that, really.
Yeah.
I'm like, after I got out, most of that was just other people's fault, prejudice, stuff like that. You can't change that.
No, you can't. You have no control over what other people are going to say or what other people are going to do. All you can do is be true to yourself and be honest with yourself and take responsibility for your actions. I mean, that's really moral character, right?
Yeah.
Which we're talking about.
That and don't let them peg you into theirs. Yeah.
Right.
I've always made a stand at work and stuff.
Right.
And I was still, okay, this is what you got, you're pushing on it's going to be, and it's going to be wrong. And when you see it's right, but you see it's what you get. Literally, I've always said that. What you see here is what I get. Right, plain and simple.
And we appreciate that. And one of the things we always strive to do is to learn as much as we can about the other side of it. Because you know what we've learned over the years that there is always 2 stories. And what happens often in cases that, for example, murders, it happens quite a bit, is that all the attention is focused on the victim, understandably so. But there's no attention on the other person who's involved. And from our standpoint, I really think that's a tragedy because everybody has a story to tell.
It's a job.
And everybody needs to be heard. And I truly believe in that, which is why we're taking time to talk with you and try to get
Yeah,
that.
that's all cigarette.
You waiting for that cigarette?
Yeah, I really. I'm gonna be checking this stuff.
Yeah, let me check, we have to go through security protocol, so let my partner check on something real quick, and then we'll see if we can do that.
Just sir, I uncounted it, okay.
It's time. What do you usually smoke? What kind of cigarette?
More there.
Marlboro 100s? Is that been your brand name over the years?
No, at least, it was Homo.
Oh my gosh, I remember those back in the day. Okay.
This is with the doses, but some reason, about a year and a half ago, I started smoking balls and like wanted to fill up with that liquid. It's like I got an allergy to it.
Oh, okay.
And then I switched to Marlboro stuff.
How many do you smoke a day?
Cigarette. Wow, not working, probably about almost a pack.
Ooh, wow.
And
Have you tried to cut back a little bit?
I did cut back. You get 2 pack a day.
You were a 2-pack a day smoker and you got into 1 pack a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Get that on the days off.
Wow. I guess everybody has a vice though, right?
Oh, yeah.
That would be yours, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, yeah, we'll just check and see what they're not allowed there because it's.
Like, yeah, before I was at prices,
Yeah,
you want to.
right. I hear you. But yeah, we can probably make something in here. And I don't think there's smoke. Oh, well, yeah. There is.
That's part of it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I come from an era back when I first started doing this job where everybody smoked, all the detectives smoked, and so everybody smoked in county buildings, and we would sit and talk with people, and then you smoke cigarettes, so it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
When that changed, it was like, whoa, you got to try to.
Oh, actually, when you can't smoke in break room anymore.
I know, and you have to be how many feet away from a building now or something?
Right.
Something like that. And on a cold, windy, rainy day, not so much fun.
Well, when you guys wait for the bartender.
In 2011, investigators used forensic genetic genealogy to compare DNA with known samples on profile. The DNA was traced to Robert Fuller, who migrated to America on the Mayflower ship in the 17th century. Fuller's descendants were none other than Edward and Patrick Nicholas. Since Edward's DNA was in the CODIS database, they compared a DNA sample taken from Sarah's body, which was kept in storage, and discovered that it was not a match. In September 2019, undercover detectives followed Patrick to a laundromat where he smoked and disposed of 2 cigarettes and a napkin. The DNA from the cigarette butts and napkin matched the 1991 sample. When they searched Patrick's home after his apprehension in 2019, they found an abundance of adult material, along with a newspaper from 1994 with an article about the death of Sarah Yarborough. A torn photograph of a woman in a cheerleader outfit was also recovered. Patrick was quick to try and turn the conversation around toward less important topics. Possible sign that he was becoming a little nervous here. But don't worry, as the investigators won't be letting the conversation remain off topic for too long. After just over 10 minutes of seemingly mundane and inconsequential chit-chat, they share a photo of Patrick with that exact same hairstyle.
So, yeah, I'm going to show you something that's not going to make you light up here. He's over selling some water, though.
This is not. Absolutely understanding.
You go ahead and cat these actually pull something up.
Pull some things up real quick.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're here?
I have no clue.
No idea whatsoever. Yeah.
Really? You're talking about something happening.
A long time ago.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
it. I'm trying to go with.
Right. In White area.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah, just bear with me. I'm just going to pull something up here.
So, yeah. I get that. My brother might have done something. I don't know. But when you're applying that my brother did assault or something like that, or might have.
That's what we're trying to sort out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's stuff. And like shit,
So here we are, 2019, and you recognize that guy? We come a long way from those days.
Yeah. Check out the hair style.
Or you know.
You've come a long way since those.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that taken?
It was back in the early
I think
90s.
93, 94.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that hairstyle? You were rocking it.
Oh,
wasn't it?
yeah. Lord.
When did you get rid of the mullet, man? I'm gonna ask. There's a guy that used to have a mullet himself.
Oh, everybody, all the dudes
Yeah.
were mullets back in the day.
I see that to me. I mean, I had my hair down here at one point.
You did that long? Oh, wow.
Cooking, yeah, when I was training to cook at Sherry's, I was getting ready to get off, I was cooking shit.
Oh, right, because you long hair when you're cooking, not a cool
Well,
thing,
hold
right?
it down. And, he was gonna fix it for his girlfriend, his crazy fantasy, said there's anything on the fire, and cut my hair.
Oh, that's not good,
And
Yeah.
he came to here, and when it was all said and done,
right?
and that was it, and I started bowling.
Right.
And I'm not gonna look like a 65-year-old Fu Manchu.
So in the 1991 era, when you left the family in Kansas and you came back here for a short time, what was your hairstyle in 91? Okay, remember what your brother's hairstyle was back then? No, okay.
But you,
I know he's older.
well, no,
He
if I
tried-
would shave, people would shave. If I do my hair long, people go and sterile.
Okay.
So my partner asked you, I heard her kind of ask you about something out of her own. What is it, why do you think that we are here tonight?
And I don't, really don't know, honestly. Well, like I said, sounded like a something down there, and go to my niece, we saw my brother, had been involved, or,
Yeah.
and I said, I'm so used to that. And people trying to get me to look away and all this.
And sometimes that happens, and that's why we kind of go through as investigators, and we kind of go through a process that most people aren't even aware of to make sure that we have the right person that we need to talk to, okay? And that's why we ended up here tonight. We wanted to make sure that we had the right person here. And so
And I think we're comfortable that we do with talking with Plea.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the picture he showed you of your mullet back in the day, that picture is important to us because it's that person who's been identified in this particular case that we're looking into.
By this point, it was time to tell Patrick about how much trouble he was in. However, the investigators avoid trying to demonize him. After all, if they did, he would be far less inclined to talking any more about the case. Instead, they try to balance it out by complimenting his redeeming aspects.
And I think you probably know where we're going with this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm arrested, right?
yeah, you are under arrest. That's correct. And it has to do with what happened in 1991 at Federal Way High School. And we were talking a minute ago about wanting to make sure we got the right person. And there's different scientific tests that we can do nowadays. DNA being one of them.
Mhm.
And so we were able to do that. And we were able to confirm that we do in fact have the right person. And we're not here to judge you. We wanted to get a feel for who you were, because we recognize the fact that your life has not been easy. And we also recognize the fact that what happened on that particular morning very likely was not something that was even pre-planned out or intentional. It happened, and I think you've probably been living with this for a really, really, really long time. And so we wanted to give you an opportunity to have that voice because we're both here and you have our attention and we want to listen to what you have to say and we want to make sure that you have that voice and an opportunity to tell your story about that morning. And so that's why we're here. And like I said, we've already been able to confirm with the scientific tests. Initially, we weren't quite sure, but we have been able to get that confirmation. So we do know that we have the right brother, and we do know you're right. Your brother has been responsible for some things in his past as well. That
And that's been a shame for you.
It has been.
And, the thing is too, so Liam, when we get this, when we work cases, we see on black and white what happened. We see how it happened, where it happened. And it's very easy for people that aren't professionals like ourselves to look at this and have a lot of kind of visceral feelings toward people or individuals that are involved in it. But the thing is, it's funny because once again, I actually like you. I like talking to you. I like having conversations.
You're a good guy, man.
I'd like to have this, I'm not judging you, and it's funny because I remove myself from that, and I'm professional, and I'm human. And because again, I go back, and I know damn well. If you walked out of here tonight, I know damn well that this would never happen again with you because you're not that person anymore. You're not that person.
Right.
That same person that I told you the picture of, you are not him anymore. You know, you were. I'm looking at your hands, and you're cut up. Your fingers are cut up with your hands, and Christ, man, I mean, you have that fortitude. You get up every day, 4:30 in the morning. You said, you take the bus. You go into work.
You're responsible. You
You
show
do your
up.
job. You have a beer. I have a beer with you if I could. You know, you do your shopping. You go back home, and that's your life. You know, and the thing is, I've had loss in my family too. I've had loss in my life, and it's funny because we live sometimes when an event happens in our lives, it changes us. And we realize that sometimes for us to actually live, we almost kind of live in tribute to certain people that we've lost. Or we live in tribute to certain things that we've done in the past that we've learned from. Because for a number of reasons, either it scared the shit out of us or made us realize that ain't me.
Right.
Of course, they weren't going to keep praising him forever. After all, he ambushed Sarah, held her at knife point, and forced through the bushes so he could murder her. By this point, it was time to name the victim and to let him know that he was going to be locked away for a long, long time. And if watching dirtbags like this is your thing, drop us a subscription so we can keep sharing stories like this with you guys.
We're going to be in Chuck's club.
And Leon, so you guys taking responsibility for what you've done. What we're investigating is the death of a young girl. Her name is Sarah Yarborough at the Federal Way High School
Murder.
from 1991. Okay.
Doing in church for murder.
In charge for murder. Okay. And so the fact that you actually turned yourself in the first time that something horrible happened in your life and you took responsibility for it speaks volumes for both of us, because what that tells me is a lot about your character and the fact that you have done what you've been able to do with your life and have turned it around as best as you can. You're now somebody who is reliable and looked upon to get the job done. Right? And so we're gonna look towards that same attribute that we know is inside of you there, and have you do something that's probably been really difficult, but we're gonna ask you to take responsibility.
I'm going to step, but
Okay, that's good. Actually, because I don't want you, honestly, Leon, I don't want you to say another word at this point. I just want you to listen to what I just said, okay? And so just listen to me for a minute, all right? Because one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to parade your name over the news. We don't want to put your picture out on the news. We don't want to tell anybody that knows you. This is between us right now.
Well,
Yeah, you're
so
so
just know what's my job. Because you're not leaving in like,
No,
No, you're not.
You're on your way. You're not.
Yeah, I just want you to hear me for a minute, okay? So the flip side of all of this, the flip side of this is that there were parents of a girl that lost her. Okay, and you know how you felt when you lost your family, okay? And they've been going through a lot since that day, okay? And the mystery is over. The mystery's over. You were there, and we know that, okay?
Just as the truth comes to light, Patrick's demeanor instantly changes. The once chatty individual that the investigators were conversing with earlier is much quieter now. Upon realizing his fate, it seems that Patrick is not feeling willing to talk much more.
Are you sorry for whatever did that happen? This is the only thing that, okay.
all right,
I just want to know if this did never happen any other time though, right? This we don't have to worry about this. There's no other
There's
feds that
no
are
other
involved in.
women that are going to come forward
he must,
and make
No.
statements or comments. Is there anything else that we need to talk about or be
no,
aware of right now?
I'm saying nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so Leon, that's honestly that's where we're at.
Mhm.
we are asking you to just
Take-
talk to us. To
Take
talk.
responsibility and just tell us what the heck happened.
I'm not saying nothing, nothing.
And I'm curious to know, and let me ask this, and you can choose the answer or not. Before the 80s, when you came forward and you identified yourself to the police officer, you told us that story. What is it that's different now for that particular scenario that's keeping you from wanting to show that same ability to atone and to take responsibility?
Nothing. I'm just, I said, I'm going to settle right now.
So I'm going to tell you then essentially what's going to happen here. Okay, there was a girl that was murdered.
Right.
Okay, and there's a girl that you came across on morning. Okay, things happen. We know for a fact that it wasn't intended to happen. I think you probably panicked. Okay, I'm not even asking you to acknowledge me. I'm just telling you this right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Without some way to make sense of this,
With my gangs.
you're going to be thought as a monster.
So don't use it. Doesn't mean that somebody's been accused of murder, but they're always considered a monster.
Well, the thing, but again, I'm going back to the fact, Leon, that you haven't committed a single crime that you've been caught for since then today. You know what I mean? So that means something to me. That tells me something. All right. That tells me that you're probably not a monster. Okay. But we need to, you are, how old are you now?
55.
55? You're a 55-year-old man. Okay. And it's not hard for you to empathize with other people. Because I've heard you do it repeatedly here today.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard you do it. You're a smart guy. I think that, pardon me for saying this, but I think that looks are deceiving. Okay, when I first met you, I saw that you were in a bar. You know, you're looking, you're smoking a cigarette, you're kind of, and then there's this complete substance about you that people don't know about, and you keep to yourself. Okay, you're sterile. Would you have liked to have kids?
No.
No, you kind of like your life the way it kind of is. Okay, and the thing is, you got a brother that's pardon me for saying it, you got a brother that's kind of lives in the same yard with you.
Right.
Okay. And you have this complete substance about you that people don't even know.
Right.
And I got to know it, and Kathy got to know
We both felt the
it.
same.
A few hours of just talking to you.
This guy's not a monster at all. And
I sketch.
yeah, I want her parents to be able to see that and know that would be, I think that's important.
No apologies, no confession. Patrick is outright refusing to put the case to bed by admitting what he did. So, before the interrogation concludes, the investigators resort to a last-ditch effort, pleading with him to confess for the sake of Sarah Yarborough's family.
Nobody in this room knows what happened. But I'd like this fact that, I'll put words in your mouth, I like this fact that what happened probably knocks some sense into you and knocked you back on track to where you needed to be, like. Because I think you probably had this moment when this was all said and done. I mean, you live near a school. There's no reports that you ever go out with antagonize or bother kids at the school that you live right next to. You know, and that you haven't done it, right? I just no reports of it, but I'm asking you, it's not something that you've done. And so that's what I'm talking about, because you are this person with substance that I kind of want to highlight those positive aspects about you.
We'd like to give that to the parents.
You know, but nobody can do it better than yourself.
And only you're able to do that. That would be a gift for them at this point. Which,
And Leon, that's honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. What we were asking for, that's what we're asking for. We're asking just for you to give a gift to her parents.
Yeah, it's important to confess also to me, and but I said, no, guys. This is it. I'm not going to say anything. I know the work now, until I get over it. If I'm going to be charged, I'll know it.
it's okay. And we're gonna respect that. Okay. We're gonna respect that.
So,
Okay. So what's gonna happen here today is you're gonna be charged with murder.
Right.
Okay?
Can I call my sister? Like, can you still get full?
You'll be able to make some phone calls, can't do it right now.
Right.
Ultimately, not even Patrick was willing to give this gift to the victim's family. Instead, he mumbles for a lawyer, and the interview concludes. Right now, closure is not on his mind. His priorities are elsewhere.
It's not a relationship. Yeah.
You can always change your mind on that. You need to be the one to initiate that contact, and we're willing to sit down and chat. And it's gotta
So
come.
yeah, but that doesn't change what I said. Yeah, that's my word. Okay. Yeah, so. All right, we're gonna put you in hold and so now. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
On May 25, 2023, Patrick Nicholas was found guilty of both first-degree murder and second-degree murder for the killing of Sarah Yarborough. He would be sentenced to 45 years in prison. Once sentenced, there were reportedly numerous people crying in the courthouse, finally relieved to know that this justice was finally served, and that Sarah had been avenged after all these years. We hope you enjoyed this one. 80% of our viewers aren't subscribed yet. A subscription helps us more than you'd think. Subscribing is free, and it's the single biggest way you can support the channel. It's free, and it keeps videos exactly like this coming. If you're looking for more videos, check out one of the most gripping cases we've ever covered right here, or our newest upload right here.